What's up, guys? What's up, world?
My narrativizing mind is very active.
It's this invisible frame of reference that you carry in your head.
Life presents all sorts of adversity, and some adversity doesn't feel like adversity. It's sneaky.
Could I interview you for my space gas?
What the hell is going on here?
And then portable mics, radio.
So what sort of bag do you take with you when you travel?
I got just a big, fat backpack, like a camera bag.
Right.
Lots of got some leather bags. A fat backpack, lots of side pockets, lots of little pockets.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah.
For different.
Man, I left Australia with a fucking suitcase. Oh, God.
When?
1964.
So do you have that suitcase still?
Oh, shit, no. No, it was a... No, and in fact, I swapped it out. I was with a bunch of GIs in Bangkok, and they were, one of them was getting out of the army and going home, and he had an aluminium frame backpack, a really good one, had an aluminium tube frame and a hip strap. It was like serious backpack, and so the way you could run it so that the backpack was up, had big padding on the straps and everything, and a cinch around the waist, and it stood about this big, and it was aluminium tube frame and bars so that it stayed open. So if you lean it against the wall, it stayed there, and you could work into it, like you could get stuff out, and it had big side pockets. And then between the bottom of the pack, which was about this deep, and the bottom of the struts was room for a rolled up sleeping bag.
There was a gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was like, and I traveled, and then I had my folio of my artwork, which is about this by this.
And the backpack, the aluminium, it had an L shape to it, like a dolly.
Yeah, it was. I'll show you.
You don't know if the things around here are precious art pieces or scrap paper.
No, here, this is close enough. This was sort of the style of the best backpack you could buy in the day. It looked like this.
Yeah, I think I've seen one before too. Is it a classic? Like, I almost think people in movies to go climb Everest would have this thing.
Yeah, like had a curved back panel. This is aluminium frame, went down like this.
Yeah.
Right, and then big padded. It was Mount Everest type stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it had big pockets down here.
Did it have an L there to hold it up on the wall, like a nut?
No, I just.
But
you just.
Oh, okay.
The wall, right?
With the lean of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
I got you
and
now.
big pockets down the sides, both sides, right? And then under here was just of course this way the curve would be that, because that's the person on that side. And the curve was this, so that the small of your back lived in here.
Yeah.
And then this was just room for a rolled up sleeping bag there.
Yeah.
And then I had my big black zippered art folio with all my artwork in it.
Was it made of leather?
Sort of what they called leatherette, which was sort of a stamp, sort of a leather finish, but not leather.
And
stiff.
like a metal zipper?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where did you keep that?
Just carried it with me because I used it for two things. It had all my artwork, so when I could go into an advertising agency and hustle my stuff, right?
Yeah.
and get a job. I get freelance work. I'd just, they'd say, do me an illustration for the stuff, and I'd take it home, do it in my hotel room or at wherever I was living.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back to the agency and just get cash.
Yeah.
Right? And and the other thing was on my
Oh, backpack.
I had on my backpack, I had an Aussie, an Aussie flag in those days. It was a thing.
Is it different from what it was now? What it is now?
Yeah, I think so. But I haven't been
It's
around.
blue. It's got the
Oh yeah, the Aussie
Union
flag.
Jack.
Oh yeah. Same flag. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I thought you were talking about how things were. No, anyway, so I what was I saying?
You're just telling me about your backpack, and you asked me about mine. When you traded it from a military guy in
Oh yeah, I traded
Okay,
it. So I had this Samsonite suitcase, which was like a fucking ridiculous thing to leave home with. But that's what I
no
had.
wheels on them.
No, they were just great big fiberglass miserable things. Giant, those big sort of pod ones.
Sure, and it was hard because it's fiberglass.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was sort of, they'd just come out. Samsonite was new in those days.
Okay.
And so old-fashioned suitcases were all square, and this one was sort of rounded corners, right? Mm-hmm. But it was like a pain in the rear end to deal with it, right?
Yeah, and you have to, both your hands are full at that point because you had your
Yeah. So I met
portfolio.
this American GI who was getting demobbed, and he was going back to the States. Mm-hmm. And he had a backpack, and I had a coat suitcase. So we just swapped,
Yeah,
and we were both very happy. He had what he wanted,
nice.
and I traveled with that thing many, many hundreds of miles.
So 26 years old,
21.
21 from Australia, brought your bag, and then went straight to, that's Thailand?
Actually, what I did was I left Melbourne in 1964, and I hitchhiked across the Nullarbor Plain. In those days, there was no tarmac, there was no paved road, it was a dirt track.
Where is that? Melbourne Plain?
The Nullarbor Plain,
Nullarbor.
it goes between South Australia and and Perth,
Okay.
right?
Highway to Hell.
Just across the desert. And in those days, there was no paved road. It didn't happen till after I left. Anyway, got to Perth, worked in Perth for a while, worked up at the in the northwest of Western Australia in a place called Esperance Gulf. They were building the very low frequency radio base for the Polaris submarines. And I was working sandblasting
Yeah,
in 120 degrees
right.
in the bloody shade. It was awful. But I got enough dough to get out of Dodge and head for Singapore.
Yeah, okay. Singapore at that time, still just a full island city?
It was very, very exotic and totally different from what it is now. It was before Lee Kuan Yew, and the klongs, the waterways were open sewers.
Ew.
It really stunk. It was exotic as all get out. It was a fantastic place. They had this wonderful thing that happened in the evening. Down on the waterfront, the ships would pull in, and there's this very Victorian waterfront with all sort of old Victorian-looking buildings, and a cast iron shelter where the lighters would arrive at the waterfront, and a great big area of pavement right on the water. And at night time, all of these food vendors would come down, and they had their little carts with collapsible chairs and tables on their little push cart, and they would sell food, ethnic food of a different type. There was Chinese and Thai, Chinese and Indian and Malay and all sorts of different types of food available.
Did you like that food at the time?
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah. And it was great. So the deal was, if you bought a meal with this particular vendor, you sat at his table and he supplied you with a drink. You had to buy your drink from him and your ice from him and one meal. And then you could get the other vendors to bring you something else if you wanted to eat. You didn't have to move your table, as long as you ate and drank with this one person, then you could order in food. So you'd sit there, and for $1 Australian, you couldn't eat all the food that you got. I mean, it was fabulous food.
Yeah.
And it was really wonderful. I used to love it. And it was and of course, coming from Australia in '64, it was the most exotic place. The smells.
How'd you get there? From Perth, a boat just goes to Singapore?
Yeah, they had
what made you do that? Why did you go across to Perth and then and you were already on your way?
Well, this is the way it went. In those days, it cost, I think, I'm trying to remember, but it was like £600 to go on a ship from Melbourne to London.
It's a lot. That was
a lot of dough.
That's a ton of scratch.
It was a lot of years of saving to get your fare to go to London.
Maybe a couple or a few.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I first started work, I was making £4.10 a week, and I was spending £4 of it on board and lodging. So,
oh no,
you didn't have much saving capacity,
right?
Especially if you were into drinking beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which I was at the time.
Yeah.
But, so I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave the country. I wanted to go and see the world, but I couldn't afford to. So I thought, okay, I'll go out west and get a job in Western Australia where there was labor work available on this military base. And then I decided to, instead of flying, or in those days you couldn't, it wasn't, Boeing 707s had just come in, but they were way more expensive than the average traveler could use.
Yeah.
So leaving the country was a matter of getting on a ship. Right. And it took like 6 weeks to go to London from Melbourne.
And you'd already said goodbye to your parents from your hometown, and then you were in Melbourne.
That's
and
correct.
You'd maybe give them a ring in Perth before you left or something? Or do you not do that back then?
Oh, yeah. Actually, phones were expensive.
Yeah.
You sent a letter.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you do that?
See, yeah.
Draw a picture of yourself with a suitcase?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I had a pretty, I don't know, I wasn't very good at communications.
Sure.
And the last thing I did before I left Perth was I went to this party, and I met this guy, and he's saying, I said, what do you do? He says, I teach skydiving. And I said, wow, skydiving. My old man was a parachutist. He was into flying and stuff in the Australian Army. And he had his flying ice cream. And so I said, oh, geez, I'd love to go skydiving. He said, how about tomorrow? And I'm going, I didn't think this through.
Yeah.
Actually, so no, it wasn't that. How about next Sunday? Because the week we had to do ground training for a week. We did, how to land properly.
And this
how
is
to do it.
just a skydiver.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were doing sandblasting, and you'd met a skydiver out in Perth.
Just at a party, I don't know where.
Yeah.
Just some damn party I was at.
Yeah.
So we went skydiving just before I left.
Nice.
That was sort of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never skydived.
Yeah.
Some people never do. A lot of people don't, actually.
I've got mixed feelings. I mean, I do not like heights. So it was sort of one of those things for me where I was sort of trying to push myself to do something that I really didn't like, to try and get over it.
Yeah, I think the same thing. But I feel like you don't really feel the height when you're... Is that... Because it just looks not even real in a way? Is that true?
Well, I tell you what, once the canopy is open, it's like magic land. Like you're just looking, it's quite wonderful. Because everything's sort of getting bigger as you descend, right?
Yeah.
Things that are tiny are becoming bigger and bigger, you know. That was quite wonderful. Of course, the real skydivers, I mean, I was just a novice and I only did a couple of jumps, so I couldn't call myself a skydiver. I jumped out of an airplane.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, and the pilot said to me, I can't understand anyone jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that quote.
It's an old joke, but
yeah.
I thought it funny at the time.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and it didn't help. I still don't like heights.
Yeah, me neither.
I never got, and then, you know, and later on in life, I saw a thing happen that wasn't good around skydiving, so just as well.
With you?
No, with a friend. Well, what happened was this bloke I knew in the Virgin Islands was skydiving, and he took this beautiful young woman into going with him for the first time, and she broke her back and became a quadriplegic on her first fucking jump. So that was ick.
Yeah. Yeah, these are the risks. This is the most... It is so high risk.
Yeah, but when you're 21, nothing's risky, right?
Yeah, man.
I was into
we want
sickles and stuff.
You don't know how precious life is yet, or something.
In my case, I was just dense.
Dense.
Well, I mean, you look at it. I mean, if you had enough brains, you could look at something and deduce that it wasn't a good idea. But somehow I wasn't capable at that stage of my life. I mean, I just lived on daily reactionary nonsense, you know.
So you were telling me about, how'd you pick Singapore?
It was the closest place outside Australia that I could get to.
Yeah.
Right?
It's from Perth. It's on that edge, and
you go up through it, you know, sort of threaded between some of the Indonesian islands, right?
Okay.
And
didn't want to go there, like, or it's not a...
Well, Singapore was... I wanted to get close to the Asian mainland rather than be on islands.
Yeah.
And so once I got to Singapore, I could go up the, Malay Peninsula, up to, the Penang and KL, and then up to the border. In those days, there was sort of no man's land between northern Malaysia and southern Thailand, where there was heavy-duty communist insurgency, armed insurgencies, right? So the way you worked in those days, that if you're traveling distances, you'd go to a taxi stand and there are all these Mercedes taxis would come, and once there were 7 people, you fill a taxi and it would leave, and you just shared the fare between 7 of you. Mm-hmm. Right?
In like Singapore upon arrival, or
well, Singapore's a little island, right? So you don't do a lot of driving around in Singapore.
You were describing the no man's land. Is where you got in the Mercedes?
Yeah. Well,
for a taxi?
Like, say, for instance, going from Singapore to Penang, and from Penang to KL, and from Kuala Lumpur up north, each of those jumps you'd go to a taxi stand. Sometimes they'd take local buses, but they usually didn't go that far. Mm-hmm. But the cheapest way to go was to share a taxi, which I thought at the time was pretty unusual. And
how many hours that drive? Like,
oh man, we're talking
upwards
many years ago.
10?
I can't remember how long. to be quite honest.
Upwards of 6?
Maybe.
Upwards of 10? So I guess I thought Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, you can drive to these places over big bridges or something? Like, I thought Singapore was an island.
Singapore's an island, but it's very adjacent to the mainland. And I believe it's, as I recall, it's just a bridge.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And now you're in Malaysia, which is, a different country. So you got to do a passport thing. But once you're in Malaysia, Penang is up on the western coast.
Penang, its own country?
Penang is a city.
In
on the
Malaysia.
water, in Malaysia.
Okay.
Penang. And of course, it's all full of old colonial architecture and ancient architecture. And then when I was in Kuala Lumpur, they had just opened this, like the world's biggest mosque, and it was like very modern and they were very proud of it. It was one of the big features, one of the big tourist features to go and see this wild modern building that was the biggest mosque in the world, that they claimed.
See, I thought I'd been to Singapore, but I think me and Joel were just thinking of going, but we ended up going to Bangkok. I've stopped in Kuala Lumpur for a second. They had no low alcohol beer. Everything in 20.
Well, in Malaysia, it's Muslim, so I don't believe they drink. Although they probably...
In Kuala Lumpur in 2019, I got out of the airport for 16 hours and just tried to walk from the airport and find food and beer. But yeah, everything was 8% or higher. And it was just gross. I ended up dumping it out. It wasn't good. It was just really rotten.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those, the big thing is with these things, foods and drinks, it's what you brought up to, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although most places I go, I don't think I've met an international food type that I don't love. Everybody likes good food, and everyone cooks good food, and that's really interesting.
So you'd already wanted to get to the Asian mainland. Why?
Well, I had vague thoughts of going overland to London.
Oh.
Because that was like where everyone went. Aussies all just sort of migrated to England.
Okay.
And worked
back.
After
getting...
my grandparents were from England, so
of course.
I actually had family in England that I could have gone to visit.
You thought maybe you would bus and hitchhike and make your way all the way over?
I didn't consider it particularly.
That's such a waste.
It was the craziest. I took it on in all good faith. I took my folio so that I could do artwork and get a job on the way, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't really consider it. Luckily I was really young and really stupid, and I didn't think anything bad could happen to me, right?
Sure. Well, I still think nothing would. You'd hope. You navigate. You don't try to get yourself in trouble.
I never did get into really bad strife. I've heard of, and I've been around a lot of waterfronts and scary places. I was in Laos and Cambodia during the Vietnam War, where all sorts of skullduggery was going on in the background. But if you're sort of innocent and of goodwill, you sort of disappear. People just discount you as a nothing. They don't really pay any attention to you.
In Ireland these days, even still, there's some tension in Belfast, especially Protestant and Catholics, and you just say you're Canadian, and you're just a Canadian. You're just chilling.
Yeah, Canadian's a good thing to tell
people. Yeah,
Aussie's not so good sometimes.
To who?
Well, the English.
You guys are all right. Maybe Kiwis. Maybe.
Aussies, yeah, the English and the Kiwis. The Kiwis can't stand Aussies.
Yeah, they're like the American.
But the other way
To
around is
Kiwis.
I don't think so much the same. Well, anyway, yeah, there's this big rivalry between New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah.
Have you heard that fun joke the Kiwis have about Australia being a large island off the coast of New Zealand?
Nice.
Yeah.
My brother asked me, or when I was in New Zealand, he's like, "How's Australia?" I'm like, no, New Zealand is its own place, man. Like, he wasn't kidding.
Oh,
he
man,
just didn't know.
The Kiwis take a very dim view of getting mixed up, as do the Australians.
Yeah,
And they love to take the mickey out of each other, but they really like each other.
they're so similar, and they have shared passports still. Like you can go right now, as an Australian, you can go be in New Zealand and vice versa.
Vice versa, correct.
Yeah.
Which is great. Well, I mean,
We should do that
you know,
with
during
England.
during both of the wars, the First and Second World War, the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps was one organization.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like they served together in the military, the Anzacs. So they've got a lot of shared history, right?
yeah. Very similar, coming from the same zone and having a similar accent.
But traveling in, like when I left, compared with today, well, for one thing, thanks.
Pleasure. Thank
For
you.
one thing, you know, communication, telephones were extremely expensive, right? So you didn't use telephones to call internationally, particularly.
Yes.
So, and also, we had what was called traveler's checks. So you go to the bank and you buy. Have you ever had traveler's checks?
Nope.
But no. So it's an old unit. So what it is you go to your bank and they issue you a book of checks, and they'll be for $10 a piece or $100 a piece or whatever traveler's check size you want, right? And it's vouched for by the bank. And you sign it in this corner here, right? And when you're in a foreign country, you can take that traveler's check, and if you countersign it here, they will issue you local funds, and they would take that and they would just, turn it in, and they get their money.
In their bank, in their country, you give it to them.
So traveler's checks were a way of traveling internationally and getting funds from family. You go down to the American Express office, and the other thing American Express offered was they had what's called poste restante, which is they would keep letters. So like if my mother knew I was going to be in Madrid at a certain time, she could write a letter to me and put it and address it poste restante Madrid, and American Express or poste restante at the post office, and I'd go there and pick it up.
But how would you know that it was there? In
You would,
Madrid, right?
Because you would have communicated with people and say, this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'd say, I'm going to Paris and Madrid and Malaga and whatever, and so you would just automatically go to the American Express office wherever you went. Say, do you have any mail for me? My name is such and such.
Yeah. Neat. And most likely people would write just because that's how you communicated.
Post offices as well, like the French post office had a poste restante,
It sounds like a French thing.
Yeah, and so any of the colonial countries that you went to, they would have at the post office. They had the same facility. You could get your mail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was that urge still though to go to mainland Asia from Australia?
Sort of the vague plan was to go overland to London.
That's right. That's what you were saying.
In those days, you could go through India, go up to Kathmandu, and then and you could do it. You could go overland across all the way to Europe.
Did people do that before? That's why you wanted to?
Yeah, I knew people that had done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. and bunches of Aussies. Like I knew some Aussies that bought old London taxis and drove it all the way back to India, sold it in India, and then came to Australia.
Whoa. Did you make it to London then?
I never did.
Yeah.
I never did. I got lost.
What?
I got lost.
So you were still on your way, and you were taking the Mercedes taxis and
Right.
trains and buses.
Yeah.
And when you'd run out of money, when did you first run out of money somewhere?
The first time I did it was in, well, I mean, what I did was when I got to Singapore, you had to have, in order to go to Singapore, by local rules, you had to have a return ticket to Australia. Now, they didn't check on, in those days, how much money you had in your pocket. So I went and cashed in the other half of my ticket when I got to Singapore. So I had some cash because I didn't have any money when I arrived.
Oh yeah.
I left Australia broke.
How much was the ticket, if you remember at all?
Like
Like
120 quid or something like that.
for the boat?
Yeah, for the boat.
Yeah.
It was a cool boat.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah, well, everything was expensive in those days. Everything. Mm-hmm. Like cars were massively expensive, and wages were low.
Yeah.
You know, it was like it was a grind. I just wanted to get the fuck out. I knew if I waited until I'd saved up enough money, I'd never get out of there. So I just left.
Yeah, that
That's
is
it.
the trick.
And then I just said, you know, I will make my way somehow. I had confidence that I could sell my work, you know.
And with that confidence too, people see that in other countries. When you go and you say you can, I don't know, it pours
I
off of
just
you.
went, in Penang was the first time I went into an advertising. My gig was a graphic designer.
Yeah.
So I just go into advertising agencies in any town I was in and take my folio, show them my work.
Mm-hmm.
Say, have you got any freelance work? Always got work.
Yeah. Did anybody think that do you look rich with a big portfolio? Do people think you're like a
I was
rich guy?
21.
Okay. So you're just a weird looking kid.
I was just a traveling kid.
Yeah.
But I was sort of, in those days, there weren't that many of us parading up and down the Malay Peninsula at the time. You know, most places we went, we were sort of the only round eyes there.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were treated everywhere we went just magnificently.
Yeah.
I mean, the local people, like I always try and I want to learn how to say please and thank you. And I want to say, and I want to learn how to count, right? Of any language, anywhere I arrive, I try to find out. You know, I learn a few basic phrases, and then I say, I would like to learn how to speak your language. And if you do that, people are always willing to help. You know, and it's essentially a matter of respect, right?
Yeah.
And if you give people respect, man, they invite you into their house. You know, it's like, it's amazing. The Sikh temples, all the way, everywhere you go, the Sikh temples always offered a meal and a bed to travelers. You know,
Why did they do that?
I think it's a part. I think the way it goes is that the Sikhs in the Punjab, the Sikhs were sort of they're the local strong guys, right, of the Khyber Pass area, and I think this is the story of how it goes. The Sikhs were warriors, and they commanded the high ground in the Khyber Pass.
And Sikhs are Indian?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're from the Punjab. The guys with the turbans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're Sikhs.
Okay.
And they're really, they were in their ancient times, they were warrior class, right? And they commanded the high ground, I think. I think this is the story. They commanded the high ground in the Khyber Pass area.
What's the Khyber Pass?
This is in the where the heck it stands area, you know, like between India and the Middle East.
Okay.
Okay, so I think the way it was going was the Muslim travelers would come, you know, through from the Middle East, and the Hindu travelers would go through from India. And the Sikhs' deal was no fighting while you're in our territory. We will be hospitable to you. Travelers are welcome and they're safe. But we run the show here and you will play by our rules.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, you know, they have these, they're very immediately visually apparent who's who, right? And they have very beautiful turbans, and you can see them from a mile away. And they carry a little ceremonial dagger, kirpan, a little knife. And I think that's but the culture anyway. They're very hospitable to travelers, and so all over the years I've been in many Sikh temples and always been treated wonderfully. You know, it's great.
We don't really do that, eh? Like, when it comes to people who look different, unless they seek help, I guess, when they start trying to speak to me and want to, that is the difference. Like, if I seen just Chinese gallivanting and doing whatever they want in the local area of the Rocky Mountains, I get a little bit, I'm not going over to help them. But if one came to me and asked me and said they were learning English, I would be like, "That nice. That's so interesting." That's nearly never happened.
Yeah. I think, well, different cultures have different ways of being. You know, there's a way of being in Asia that is rather meek and mild. But don't mistake that for weakness. They're very proud and they don't mess around if you step over the line, right? Like any culture, every culture you go to has their requirements of your behavior, you know?
Yeah.
When you are here, this is how you will behave or we will be offended.
Yeah, and laws are in place,
Of
like,
course.
yeah.
And that's right. I find it fascinating that there are great differences, and the differences appeal to me greatly. Like, I like to go to a different culture and see people dressing differently, having different food, different way of dealing with each other, you know. That's the fun of it.
Do they
to me.
have as much honor culture in Asia as Japan? Like, if you've heard about that, like,
Oh, I think so. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do. Like, I mean,
Grandpa,
you know, and yeah, and so,
did you see any? Like,
well, this is, I mean, for a young man, when I was 21 years of age and traveling, I couldn't talk to any of the girls from nice families.
because someone would stop you?
Oh, yeah, it was not on. Yeah. I mean, the only girls I ever got to speak to were hookers. Because, you know, local families were very strict on their daughters. They weren't allowed, and especially they didn't want them mixing with, you know, round eyes.
Round eyes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, a lot of rogues, you know,
Different blood. And it,
and people tend to be, all peoples tend to be, you know, tribal. Whether you like it or
on a
not.
side topic, I heard recently in a podcast, this guy, he just described that the trend seems to be in humans tyranny. Like, it seems that the trend is people do seem to want to control over a course of time a new society that gets built, or even a cult. The general trend, like you might say, and you quoted to me before about the world's moving into chaos, like getting further and further apart, nonsensical. Like that's how the universe spreads. But he said the trend is with people, they're tyrannical. People seem to want to gain more control over time.
Well, people, I think most of it's, in my estimation, most of these activities are rooted in fear.
Uh-oh.
People become aggressive when they're afraid, and they can be afraid of a lot of different things. Afraid that you're going to try and take their property, their daughter.
Which is their life source. Like their daughter is like
Yeah,
them, the piece of everything.
exactly.
they give up.
But then they consider their daughter as their property, right? So, but and the one of the many problems is that we sort of learn something, and we think this is the way things should be in our society, and but older-fashioned societies don't agree. I mean, the way women wear burqas in some countries, which is perfectly normal, and it's the way things are done in that part of the world,
Fully.
right? Mm-hmm. My attitude is, it's not my business to go and tell the women of another country how to conduct themselves.
Yes.
I can hear people saying that it's,
iPad.
hello, sweetie.
You made it.
Yeah.
We're here. We're doing a thing.
We're doing a podcast.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Hi, you look great. Got a couple cameras going.
Yikes.
Funny.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We'll just wrap it up, I guess, with some funny travel quotes or something. And we'll visit.
Yeah, so what were we? We were onto a thing there.
Tyranny there and cultures.
Listen, the world. From what I can gather, I read a.
So the natural thing there is people trying to control a way that something is, and then you're saying the base is fear.
And people, when people are afraid, they try and control everything.
The more so.
The more afraid they are, the more they try to control.
Yeah.
It's like it's self-preservation instinct at a very animal level.
How do you live a life without it? Because you need it a bit to.
Well, I think our struggle as humans is that we've got this. We have a whole lot of hereditary behavior as human beings, as a species, which are very ancient and very crude. And in order to live in a civilized society, you have to suppress some of your animal urges, or you're not welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the whole animalistic.
And we revert to ugly behavior given half a chance.
Quick.
Big time. Big time.
Oh, and it is fear driven, totally.
It is.
Yeah. When, say, you roll into a grocery store and there's no food suddenly, if you don't maintain cognitive thinking, you're not going to be kind to people. You're going to be like,
I got to get my grub.
They took the last of it.
Yeah.
Scary. Hey, what happened? I remember you told me this story. Was it in Thailand that you were with some, Thai diplomat or something? You made friends with, or you worked for, you were on the side of the street and you got making.
Yes, yeah. I met, this was in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met a young man who was his father, in their family, they had diplomats. His mother was a very cultured woman who was a painter. Father and family owned a business that dealt in fertilizer for rice paddies. So the family was very wealthy. And I got a job designing the interior of an office for them.
In their house.
No, in their business, place of business.
Yeah. And did the son or the wife saw you on the street?
Yeah, I was, the way it worked was I was selling my paintings on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I'd
Broke?
Yeah, dead broke.
Dead broke.
had to sell a painting or not eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could they go for a couple pounds, or what was a painting worth then?
Jeez, I'm trying to remember. I mean, it's so many years ago. But it was probably I could get a week's worth of accommodation if I sold one.
Yeah.
That's the sort of, yeah.
And did they buy one that day? Or did they just hire you?
Well, he and this young man invited me home to meet his family. We struck up a conversation. He liked my paintings.
And he could speak English.
And he'd been educated in the United States. So he was fluent in English.
Wow. So
And
guy on the street, you must have been not half bad dressed.
oh, I always made sure I looked sort of tight. Well, in those days, I mean, we're talking the 60s. You know, threads were the thing in those days.
I don't even know what a thread is.
Threads, clothes.
Clothes. Well, wait. We're wearing clothes, aren't we?
Yeah. It was more formal looking
Yeah.
clothing. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's more questions. Why did we get so casual?
I don't know. It's easier.
Yeah, this is really easy. What I'm wearing just pulls over, and it stretches. I can make shorts suddenly.
You can sleep in it.
Yeah, this is.
You just like
Work out in it,
work and sleep,
sweatpants, like-
do anything. Yeah.
Nice. Was there any you ended up like meeting the mom, and she was
Oh yeah, she was a lovely woman, very beautiful woman, as I recall, and I cannot remember their name, but they had a beautiful big mansion in Bangkok, and his mother had a studio, and she invited me to come and use her studio to paint.
yeah.
And so she and I became very well acquainted, and she was a delightful woman, and I was treated like one of the family. It was very
Hey,
nice.
Patsy.
Tell me when the camera's off.
Sure. Did you with her? Did you stay there?
At their house?
Did you have a hotel?
No, I was in a hotel.
Yeah.
The little hotel down near the railway station, the Tai Song Greet Hotel, right down near the railway station in the middle of Bangkok.
Right. Bangkok's really big now, and I don't know if I ever made it there when I was there. I don't think.
Well, of course, the railway station was a focal point in those days,
Yeah.
right? Because you did a lot of train travel, and the British embassy that was with this magnificent old Victorian embassy was not far from there, and so it was a sort of a central part of the old town. There was a market. There was a klong that went by, and a market close by.
Klong?
Klong, the river, the waterways that, yeah.
Right. And, what, I wanted to ask, like, I don't know, favorite, or like trying to convince people to travel. This is good education. Or, no regrets, right?
Oh, no. I mean,
Of course, there's mistakes.
I did some oh, Jesus. Well, but I mean, you shake your head at the things you did, and got away with some things that you wouldn't believe.
Of course.
I mean,
In all, the whole thing's incredible that you got away with it. It's amazing that it all lined up. You got jobs, didn't get in that.
well, it started, I mean, my luck started off from the very start was when, in 1964, Australia was in the Vietnam War, and for the first time in Australian history, they brought in the draft to put soldiers in Vietnam,
Yes.
and I was 1 month too old.
Brilliant.
And it just kept going from there. You know, I mean, it was just the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
You know, kids in my class went to Vietnam.
Yep, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, you know, I missed a bullet there. And then it was just a time of great, I mean, you can imagine, Vietnam's on fire. Laos and Cambodia are influenced, the war's spilling over into Laos and Cambodia and northern Thailand. And we're crossing over the borders once a month to go to Laos and Cambodia to renew our visa.
Yeah.
And so, you know, lots
Running into people that are getting out of it, maybe sometimes
like
people die.
like Udon and Karat were U.S. Air Force bases. You know, I was going through there when they first took off to bomb Hanoi.
Right. The U.S.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were.
Okay. Well, let's visit Patsy and we'll do this again sometime because there's so much we could talk about. We didn't even get into you living on a boat, building boats. Many stories from how you ended up getting to Bangkok, what you did after, how you made your first millions.
Still working on that one.
Right. All right. Bye, everybody.
Cool. Well, that's fun. Yeah, and it's nice talking more about it. I love it.